Hello and welcome back to the second episode of Touch 'em All Sports radio show here at Shorter University. Today's headlines: hot in Cleveland. What's going on in Cleveland, Ethan? NBA trade rumors and the NBA All-Star game. That's what we're talking about today on Touch 'em All Radio. I'm Justin Franklin. Ethan Payne across the table from me. Let's get right to it. Ethan, have you heard about what's going on in Cleveland?
Yeah, reportedly they had a very quote-unquote emotional meeting Monday before practice because there was a lot of finger-pointing going on saying that Kevin Love left the game with a quote-unquote fake illness. What do you think about that?
That is exactly what I was saying. The Cavs locker room is accusing Kevin Love of being sick. Faking sick, rather. And we talked about it on Monday. When it comes to the point to where you're calling out your own teammates and saying you're questioning the legitimacy of their claims, their illness, you don't believe your teammates, then it's a mess, really. Coach Ty Lue, in an interview, said that guys on the team there's guys on the team that have agendas, and they need to get rid of their agendas and work better as a team. What is he talking about? Better yet, who is Coach Ty Lue talking about? Because you've got to think, as a fan, you got to think he's talking about like guys like LeBron who want to put up incredible numbers like that and don't really share the ball. Do you think he's talking about LeBron? Like, what do you think?
Well, I mean, I saw recently where he posted a quote that said, "I'm about to make some changes to this lineup," and I don't know what he means by it. I don't know if he means he's going to go out and get more players, if he means he's going to trade some people away, but I do agree. What is happening right now is I don't know what's happening, but it all started with the whole Kyrie Irving deal when he said he wanted out of there. So I believe since then something's been happening. I mean, why would a star player that knows he has opportunity to go to a finals with LeBron James say, "I want out of this. I don't want to be here"? What would make him want to be leave there unless there's some really big issues happening?
Right.
And I believe that's continuing now with this whole Kevin Love deal, not wanting to play, wanting to fake an injury.
And now it kind of comes to the surface. Maybe this was why Kyrie wanted to leave Cleveland. Maybe this is why he requested a trade. There's a video of LeBron ripping his teammates. He's just chewing them out. Have you seen it? On the side or on the bench, and he's ripping them. He's yelling and he's coaching them, I guess. But that poses the question, like I said on Monday, who's the coach here? And if you are Coach Ty Lue, where do you draw the line with how much you allow LeBron to get away with?
You can't be the authority figure of these adults because they aren't little boys out here playing a game. Now, these are grown men playing a grown men game. How long until you allow, like, how does it happen that people think they just have the ability to sit out because they want to fake sick? How is the team not, as a coach, you're supposed to have an authority over your players, and why does he not have that?
Yeah, and if you gotta take Kevin Love as a man of his word. You can't just doubt Kevin Love claiming that he's sick. Like he's a man. He's a man, and he knows when to sit out and when to go and play. But I think they're trying to distract their on-court issues, which is they're sitting third place in the East, behind Toronto and behind Boston. I think they're just trying to distract you from what's really going on. Let's talk about NBA trade rumors. The Atlanta Hawks looking to unload Ersan Ilyasova, Marco Bellinelli, and Kent Bazemore, all key pieces for these guys this season. They're looking to unload them at the approaching trade deadline. If you're an Atlanta Hawks fan, which I am, this is kind of frustrating. But to an extent, no, it's not, because in return for guys like Ilyasova, for guys like Bellinelli and Bazemore, these guys can be key pieces for teams making a playoff push. You can get some pretty nice stuff in return in regards to draft picks and prospects. So, as Atlanta sports fans, we've seen players get dumped off, and it's frustrating, And so, I trust this. I trust the Hawks front office, and I think it's a good move dumping these guys because the Hawks aren't going anywhere. They're fighting for the number 1 draft pick this year. And I think the more picks you can get, the better. Also, the Charlotte Hornets looking to move Kemba Walker. That's big. That's big in regards to their decision. Are the Hornets going to make a playoff push? And I think your answer will come after the decision with Kemba Walker. If they move Kemba Walker, then it's clear they're not going to make a playoff push this year. If they keep him, then it looks like they're going to go to push for the playoffs, rather.
I saw something where Michael Jordan was talking about that, and he said that under no circumstances would he trade Kemba Walker for anything other than an All-Star. And with that being said, would you like to talk about the whole All-Star issues?
Absolutely, yeah. You see, Kemba Walker's not even an All-Star himself.
And what would you define as an All-Star? Because there's people out there getting snubbed from their spots right now.
We're going to talk about that. The league announced who will be an All-Star, but not on what team. If you're not familiar, the NBA changing the format of their All-Star game this year, a little bit like how the Pro Bowl did in the NFL a couple of years ago. They announce who all will be on a team, but they do not announce what team they're on. The teams are picked by captains instead. The captains this year are from the Eastern Conference, the number one vote getter, and the number one vote getter from the Western Conference, and respectively, it's LeBron and Steph Curry. The draft will not be public. The public will find out after it's over. Steph and LeBron they'll draft in private. The picks alternate till all eight players are voted in as starters by the fans. The media and the players voted them in, and so LeBron and Steph obviously a starter, and then LeBron will pick 4 starters, and Steph will pick 4 starters. Who would your first pick be? If just out of curiosity, you've got guys like KD, Kyrie, James Harden. I'm personally going with KD. That's my first pick.
Well, honestly, if it was me, I'd probably pick someone more like a James Harden. Due to his style of play, in my opinion, I feel like it's better.
Yeah.
Or maybe go get a good big out there. You know, there's a bunch of bigs out there in this All-Star game. You know, my opinion doesn't really matter, though, because I think LeBron James is already in the situation of a coach that we've talked about. So
yeah.
I feel like he might make a good decision here, or he might make a terrible decision, as we also see that happening in Cleveland.
Right, and back to what you said about guys being snubbed. It's up to the fans to vote. So if you don't get in, blame it on your fans, or make it to where it's almost impossible for you to not make it. And I get that there's some guys out there that truly deserved it and got snubbed, but Andre Drummond, one of the main guys, I think he got snubbed. He's carrying that team in Detroit, I think. But it is what it is. Maybe for his sake, there'll be some guys that go down with a not so major injury but can't participate in the All-Star game, and they'll get in as a reserve. Let's talk about something else real quick. Back to football. The Patriots announced that they're going to wear white in the Super Bowl. They're the home team, but they've elected to wear white. Why is that news? Because the 12 of the last 13 Super Bowl winners have worn white. Patriots 3 times, the New York Football Giants twice, Steelers twice, Seahawks, Colts, Saints, Ravens, and the Broncos all wore white and were victorious. Ethan, what's your thoughts? Does that matter, or is it just...
I'm not sure as much of it matters. Just it's a big superstitious deal. You know, when you're a professional athlete, you know, you see guys don't wash their clothes for a certain amount of time, wear the same shoes every game, baseball players treat their glove a certain way, the same pregame warm-ups, pregame meals. You know, it's just a really superstitious idea that they have right now. And if they think that's going to help them and they're trying it out, then, I mean, that's more power to them. If they're doing what they think it takes to win.
That's yeah, and sometimes when I make my picks for games like this, I look at the uniforms that they wear. In the national championship for college football, I had a really hard time picking Georgia because they were wearing red. Last time they played Alabama wearing red was the 2012 SEC championship game. They lost. Same thing happened this year. Uniforms are big for me. So I think good luck, Eagles. The Patriots are wearing white, 3-0 in white. Something else, we'll talk about baseball. The Atlanta Braves are expected to unveil their new mascot Saturday morning at their Chop Fest. I'll be there. They're still going to be called the Braves. It's just a new costume for a guy to put on. Whether that's news or not to you, news to me.
I believe it's a good marketing strategy. You kind of change things up. They've got the new stadium going now. They're just going to try to add in something new, see how it goes with the kids. Because I think it's more of just an idea for the kids. That's what all a mascot is now. But honestly, if it was me, I'd put a lot of focus into the whole Beat the Freeze deal. That got some national publicity on Twitter and on other social media platforms. And I think that was a great idea they had right there. I think they should rely on that a little bit more, honestly.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll be there. I'll be your correspondent. Let's move to our segment where, unfortunately, I was wrong. Welcome to the I Was Wrong segment of Touch 'em All Sports Radio. This is where we correct our errors from the last show. Ethan, I don't know if you noticed it, but apparently, more times than not, I refer to this upcoming Super Bowl as Super Bowl 51. Anyone with a brain knows that it's Super Bowl 52. So, my sincerest apologies for that. Also, the next apology is to the Philadelphia Eagles. Neither one of us really gave them defensive credit, but they have the number one pass rush defense in the NFL. So, sorry to the Super Bowl and the people of Minneapolis, and sorry to the Philadelphia Eagles. Ethan, we got a lot to talk about today in our hot take showdown. I'll go first. NBA All-Star Game is just going to be a bust. It's just going to be a bust. It's going to create more conflict, and more conflict that's not needed, especially with the Cleveland Cavaliers. What do you think?
Wow, I do agree with you in the sense of it is a conflict of sorts with the whole snubbing players and players getting on by votes. But I also feel like this is a great opportunity to make a bunch of money and create a giant buzz for people watching the game and all kinds of people coming in and seeing what's going on and like watching all-stars play the best talent there is. They don't always play defense the entire game, but it's no one's gonna sit there and want to see. You don't go over defensive stats after a game. If a guy has a 50-point game, you're gonna talk about that more than you're gonna talk about a guy that had 5-6 steals.
Right.
Offensive firepower is what the fans want to see, and that's what this game is. And I think there'll be a lot of people tune in and watch the game, and it's gonna create a lot of money and a lot of ticket sales.
Yeah, but still, I think with the format that they went with this year, I think that it's going to just create more drama because you've got guys like you don't have to necessarily pick guys in your conference. Like if LeBron wanted to take KD, he could take KD. And then that poses the question, well, why didn't LeBron pick his teammate or why didn't Steph pick his teammate? And it's just going to create more drama. But that's just me, though.
I think it depends on how they want to play. If LeBron and Steph want to go out there and win the game, is like a compete to the best of their ability, they'll go out there and pick people just not based off buddy-buddy situation, but pick people based off the best of their abilities. But if they're going out there just to play buddy-buddy, just to have a little horsing around game, they're probably going to pick their teammates, and, I guess we'll see how it turns out after the game.
All right, Ethan, this is not a hot take at all, but in regards to tonight, the MLB Hall of Fame selection comes out tonight, and Chipper Jones is going to make the ballot. Not necessarily a hot take, but I think it happens.
MLB Twitter page, the verified Twitter page, they posted out a bunch of polls to let the fans vote on who they thought would make it and who they didn't think would make it. And Chipper Jones was by far the number one rated player to get in, with I think 93% of people saying yes, he deserves it. But another one I saw, well, it was over 60, 70%, I think, of people saying yes, was Barry Bonds. And honestly, I believe he should have an opportunity to be in the Hall of Fame. He's purportedly taken steroids and everything. He's the face of the whole steroid era on the tail end of that.
Yeah, he's a cheater.
But he's still the all-time home run king.
But he cheated.
What about Sammy Sosa? Mark McGwire. Those are all names mentioned. Alex Rodriguez. All names mentioned in
cheaters.
Best of the best. And look at them. They all did it.
Cheaters though. They cheated. I just don't agree. I don't agree at all. I think that Barry Bonds, put him in the Hall of Fame, but put an asterisk by his name, and put steroid era under it. Put proven steroid. I think you open it up to guys like guys that use steroids like Barry Bonds. You open it up to guys like them, and it ruins the integrity of it. It's really hard for me to agree to put Barry Bonds in the Hall of Fame, man. Cheater. Hank Aaron's my home run king. Moving on to my third hot take, finally, it's my last one. The Milwaukee Brewers will land Christian Yelich in a trade, and I think that Yu Darvish is going to stay in Los Angeles. I think that Yu Darvish is a competitor, and he's not the typical baseball player that goes and leaves for more money. He wants to go somewhere where he can win, and I think he's going to stay in L.A. The World Series this year with the Houston Astros, Los Angeles Dodgers, really gave the guys of the Dodgers a taste, and I think Darvish stays, and I think that the Brewers are going to land Yelich, definitely. I just think that there's so much going on in Miami that it's going to be impossible for them to just keep one guy and build around. Derek Jeter and the guys they've really shown that they don't know how to manage a club. Made some pretty harsh claims with Giancarlo Stanton. Told him that you either get traded or you suffer, pretty much. Kind of threatened him, really. That's a mess. You want to talk about a mess? It's the Miami Marlins right now, and I think that Christian Yelich is gonna hop on out of there as soon as he can. I'd love to hear your thoughts.
Well, when you're rebuilding a team, you got to start somewhere. You know, most of the time when you're rebuilding, you're not going to go after veterans and like older guys. You're going to go after young people who know how to play. And a great, opportunity for that is Christian Yelich. He's a young guy and he's playing playing at a pretty high level right now, being young. And I think he stays and they do build around him because that's a guy they already have. Why not build around him? Because he's not a guy that's a perennial all-star. They're breaking records and everything. He's a guy that he's playing at a high level, but he's not the best out there. And I feel like it's a great guy to build around, someone who they already have, who already has a relationship with the coaches. And back to Yu Darvish, I think he goes somewhere else. Why would he want to play second pony to Clayton Kershaw if he can go out somewhere else and make money, improve himself, and earn his position somewhere high on the list of pitchers in the 2000 teens? What would you say about that?
Pitching wins championships.
Absolutely.
And I think that Yu Darvish is aware of that, and I think that he stays simply because you put guys like Clayton Kershaw, you put guys Yu Darvish, Alex Wood, all these guys on the same roster. It's going to be impossible to beat, and the Houston Astros had a real hard time with it. And I think that Yu Darvish stays, and the Dodgers become a pitching powerhouse, similar to that of the Braves in the 90s. We saw how well that worked out. Pitching wins championships, and that's all I've got to say about that. Let's move on to your hot takes.
My hot takes for the day consist of nothing but baseball. These are 3 baseball hot takes. And to start off the first one, I'm going to say something that is a very controversial topic, but I believe Pete Rose ends up in the Hall of Fame in the next 10 or so years. I believe he has deserved it. What he did that prevents him from joining Hall of Fame is something that happened after his playing career. It happened when he was a coach, correct?
Correct.
And he wasn't going to make the Hall of Fame as a coach. No one has ever questioned that. He's going to make the Hall of Fame as a player. He has over 4,000 hits, I believe. That's the most in the MLB of all time. This is kind of like the Barry Bonds situation. But what Barry Bonds did, I agree with you, it was wrong. He cheated. He got his way through an illegal performance-enhancing drug. He still did what he did, but he did it with the help of something else. Pete Rose did everything on his own. The only reason he's not allowed to win because he bet on his team. He already had money. I don't know why he was betting. But what he did, I still believe, is not grounds for him to not be allowed in the MLB.
I get that it had nothing to do with on the field. I understand that. But I just think the MLB, like I said, holds itself to this standard of if you break the rules, man, you break the rules. The lifetime ban on Pete Rose, in my opinion, will be held forever. I think that's what's going to happen. I hate it. I think Pete Rose was a good player. He had a lot of accomplishments, like you said, leads all-time hits. It's just unfortunate the way he played out. He knew the rules. He knew he was breaking them. So I hate it. And he can be recognized in Cincinnati all he wants. Good, good for him. But as far as the the MLB, Major League Baseball Hall of Fame goes, I don't think he'll ever be in it.
Well, now on to my next hot take. This one is less of a controversial topic and more of something that I just believe is going to happen. It is Mike Trout wins the MVP this year and truly starts to show his dominance. This year, the Angels are going to have a very star-studded roster. I believe they're going to have a very good season, and Mike Trout's going to be on top of that team. You know, he already is on pace to break so many unbelievable records.
Mm-hmm.
Like he has, some I read today was he had the second highest WAR, wins above replacement, of anyone under the age of 25 except for Ty Cobb.
Oh wow!
And you know, that's something that's pretty incredible, and he's on pace to break all kinds of stats. And I believe he's truly starts to show his dominance this year and wins another AL MVP.
I agree to an extent. You got to keep him healthy. Last year, it was right before they played the Braves. He was sliding into second, slid head first, and hurt his wrist. So, if he can stay healthy, yeah, sure he has an MVP season. But look at all the other talent in the American League. You got a lot of guys in there. Jose Altuve is my main one. You know, he was last year's AL MVP, and now Stanton's on the Yankees. He's in the AL. A lot of talent.
And what I'm going to say to that, all right, you have Jose Altuve. He's a guy that's going to hit for a high average every season. He's a fantastic hitter. You have Stanton he's going to hit for a high number of home runs every year. You have you have speedsters in there. But what you don't have is a guy like Mike Trout. He can hit for average. He can hit for power. He can steal bases. He could be a Gold Glove outfielder. Mm-hmm. He's a fantastic player all around in every sort of the game. And in my opinion, I think he's going to go down as one of the greatest to ever play. Yeah. Specifically because he has all 5 tools, and he actually uses them to the best of his ability. He's not one of those guys you say, oh, he was a 5-tool player, didn't pan out. But Mike Trout, I believe, is panning out and will pan out.
Yeah, no doubt. But as far as MVP regards go, on a star-studded team you use that term loosely, on a team like the Angels, where you've got a lot of talent surrounding you, is Mike Trout going to be the only reason they win games this year?
No, well, they have a lot of players. They went out and signed the Ohtani guy, right?
Yeah.
So that's a guy he can do both. He can hit, he can pitch, and we'll see how he pans out in MLB. Pujols still there, correct?
As far as I know.
I'm just making sure. He's a great player also. Clearly, he's part of the 600 home run club, and yeah, he's on the tail end of his career. Mm-hmm. But we'll see as long as he keeps on producing. That's one of the better first basemen there are in the MLB at this time, in my opinion.
Well, true.
Maybe not star-studded, but they have the talent they need to produce.
They've got a lot of talent, and in the past, you could make the case for Mike Trout being MVP because he was all the Angels had. He was all they had. Now, not so much, and that's why I put a question mark beside Mike Trout MVP. Moving on.
My last one. This is one I absolutely know you're going to disagree with. But based off the history of stupidity, I believe the Braves trade Dansby Swanson this season. Now, you're gonna say that's their young guy. They have a great guy to build around. But look at it this way: last season he got sent down in the minors because he was not producing. And you have a guy who's starting in your line, not producing. What do you do with him? You get rid of him. While I believe he can produce, he has the tools to produce. I'm not going to look at it as the Braves have historically made some terrible decisions. Mm-hmm. I mean, look all the good players they've traded. Alex Wood, Jason Hayward, Justin Upton, Andrelton Simmons. One of the better closers of this century, Craig Kimbrell. All of them on the Braves. All of them are gone. On a Braves team that is supposed to be rebuilding, they got rid of all of them.
Yeah, and that was in the past. That was John Coppola's doings. And you look at the guys that they've got now in their farm system: Kobe Allard, Ronald Acuna, Mike Soroka. You look at all these guys, and you know how they got these guys? Through trades, through trading Jason Hayward, through trading Craig Kimbrell, B.J. Upton, Justin Upton. And the only reason they traded Craig Kimbrell, and this is a fact, is so they had B.J. Upton, now known as Melvin Upton Jr. Had him. He had this ridiculous contract. No one was going to take that contract unless you put it with something, unrefusable, like Craig Kimbrell, the best closer in baseball. So, it all makes sense to me. And John Coppolella made that good decision. But also, John Coppolella made some pretty bad decisions. He broke some international signing rules, got himself in some bad trouble, and he's up there with Pete Rose, banned for life. I don't think they trade Dansby simply because of all they went through to get him and who he is and how he works. Dansby's their guy. Dansby and Freddie are going to be their guys for the future.
See, I agree with that, but I also thought at one time that it was going to be Freddie and Jason Hayward. Jason Hayward leading the team. You know, I remember watching opening day. What was it, 2-3 years in a row he hit a home run on opening day?
Yeah.
It was insane. You know, he was the guy you wanted to watch play baseball, and the Braves got rid of him. Yeah, it was in the past, but you also got to think of it in the past as Dansby's the guy they got in the past. Dansby's the guy who's good in the past. Now he's the guy that is hitting barely over 250. Was it even over 250?
He's
sitting down in the minors.
He's still a rookie though.
Yeah, but you got to think of it is that he what's the Braves new manager? They won't or the owner whatever. He doesn't want to have a guy who he didn't bring in who's not producing. Mm-hmm. But also, yeah, he is the guy who can. He can be great. He has the tools. He has the projection to be great. But if he's not producing now, it's not a guy you brought in. He might not want to keep him. That's just my take for it.
Yeah. Excuse me. But it's Dansby Swanson. He was the number 1 draft pick for a reason. Picked by the Diamondbacks overall. The way the Atlanta Braves, if you're not familiar, the way the Atlanta Braves acquired Dansby Swanson, traded Jason Hayward to the St. Louis Cardinals, and got Shelby Miller in return. Shelby Miller to the Diamondbacks, Dansby Swanson to the Braves, along with some other guys. We'll talk about that later. But Dansby, I think that you work too hard to get a number one overall draft pick, Dansby Swanson. I think he's here to stay. He's still a rookie. Still hadn't been in the league for a long time. Give him time to prove himself. Dansby's here to stay.
I also agree with that, but also you got to think of, do the Braves have what it takes to produce, to make him be a great player? Because I don't really agree with Snitker. He's still a manager, correct?
Correct. Yeah, which is
I don't agree with him being. I don't think he can,
No.
make talent better. To say, I don't think he can produce all these farm players to compete at a level. I think they bring up players too soon sometimes, and they don't produce, and they have to send them back down. I don't think they can produce the talent that they have.
Yeah. Well, I think if you get rid of your manager and find someone that actually knows how to manage a ball club, then Dansby Swanson will produce just a little bit more. But that's just me. We've got 4 minutes left, Ethan? Let's go around the league tonight. There are 6 games. We'll pick our winners. I'll read them. I'll read the matchups. You pick a winner. We'll end the show. We'll start off with the Jazz and the Pistons tonight at 7. Who you got?
It's a tough one. 2 teams I very rarely get to see. I've not heard much about the Jazz this year. I've heard a little bit about the Pistons, how they've been playing. So I'm gonna pick the Pistons. Not because of I think they're better, because I don't know much about either team right now.
All right, yep. I'm going to agree with you. Going to go with the Pistons, Pelicans, and the Hornets tonight at 7. Who you got?
Absolutely Pelicans. Their bigs are playing out of this world right now, and I believe they're going to win this game every time.
Yep. Bulls and Sixers tonight at 7.
Ooh, well, you look at the Sixers have a very young, talented-filled team, but not because they've been producing well, because they've been so terrible in recent years. They've got a bunch of early draft picks. So I think the young players are going to produce towards the latter end of the season, getting closer to the halfway point. I believe the Sixers win this game.
All right. I would say trust the process, but I disagree. Going to go with the Bulls. Suns and Pacers. Who you got tonight?
Let's go Suns. Suns have Booker doing very well. So.
All right. I'll take that with you. Going with the Suns. Rockets and Mavericks tonight at 8. Who you got?
Mavericks got Nowitzki, but he's older. I don't think he produces well this game. I'm going to go with Rockets.
Rockets. CP3
yes.
And the Rockets going to storm it tonight. And last one, Raptors and the Hawks tonight at 7:30. Our hometown team, the ATL Hawks, are going to lose to the Raptors. No choice.
Absolutely.
That is all we've got today for Touch 'Em All Sports Radio. I'm Justin Franklin.
I'm Ethan Payne.
And thanks for listening. See you next time.
same.